Hello and welcome to Frequently Zacked Questions, a show where you get to ask Zach whatever you want, he'll answer it, and then I will try to explain what he means. Today's question comes to us from Abraham Lincoln, who asks, what do you think of tramp stamps? Okay, let's go to Zach.
What do I think of tramp stamps? Tramp stamp is a word that refers to a woman's lower back tattoo. And the word itself, tramp stamp, is kind of like, I'm going to ignore that and just answer, what do I think is of women's lower back tattoos? And then I was thinking that at the base of the spine is sort of like a nerve center controlling like the pelvis. And a tattoo there somehow represents like control over or power over that nerve center. And I was also thinking that a woman's hips, waist and hips, are known to be extremely attractive to men, and therefore, a tattoo on the lower back also indicates like that the woman kind of knows that that hips are attractive to men, and she's sort of just accepting that as a reality. I forget what else I was going to say. And any given specific woman's waist and hips can feel like they're magical and special, and it's possible that like a lower back tattoo is a recognition of the ordinariness or the generality of that phenomenon, and it's like trying to reduce the attention paid to the specialness of any one given woman's waist and hips.
Okay, first off, bonus points to Zach for set design and for buttoning his shirt up all the way. Bravo, sir. Bravo. Secondly, he's making a really subtle point here, and one that's about far more than just tramp stamps. So let's break it down. To start, it helps to acknowledge a few facts. Even though this question wasn't explicitly about women, Zach chose to answer it that way, and there's good reason for that. The majority of lower back tattoos are on women, the majority of men are attracted to that part of a woman's body, and what's more, most men are attracted to a certain waist-hip ratio, or WHR. As it turns out, the WHR that's most universally accepted as the sexiest is somewhere around 0.7. And to get a sense of this, I give you Sofia Vergara. Now this fact, that most men are attracted to a waist-hip ratio somewhere around 0.7, that's not just anecdotally true. As it turns out, there's a surprising amount of research on this subject. So given these facts, Zach is interested in the motivations for a woman to get a lower back tattoo. And his answer may surprise you. Most people would argue that a lower back tattoo would make a woman feel sexy. Most people would also argue that feeling sexy is tantamount to feeling special. But Zach's is just the opposite. He says that getting a lower back tattoo is essentially giving in to generality, acknowledging the fact that most men are attracted to that part of a woman's body, and saying, fuck it, I'll just put a goddamn bullseye there. But this is a complicated point, because there's a crucial element of the question baked into it, and that is the word itself, tramp stamp. I imagine that most women with a lower back tattoo would not use that word to describe it. Frankly, it's pretty offensive, both to the women who have those tattoos, but also to tramps. Using the phrase tramp stamp is just one more example of society looking down upon women for embracing their own sexuality. So one thing that Zach is perhaps not pointing out here is the fact that a lower back tattoo is also a sign of defiance. The way so many other marginalized groups have taken back a word that was once used pejoratively, like black people using the N-word, or gay people using the F-word or the D-word. And no, I'm not talking about flamingo diapers. Having a lower back tattoo is a way of saying, fuck you, world. If you want to label me a tramp, then go ahead and fucking do it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and I'm willing to wait for you to catch up. That being said, this is a show about Zach, so we have to take what he says at face value. And he just doesn't see it that way. But to understand why, it helps to know a little bit more about Zach. Specifically, Zach's sense of his own specialness. Zach is the sort of person who feels like he's really special, but the world hasn't quite caught on yet. And instead of trying to get the world to recognize his specialness by trying to fit in, by doing what's normal, in other words, by being general, he does the exact opposite. He does absolutely nothing that's normal. I mean, look at his set design. Putting post-its on the wall behind him is at the same time incredibly endearing and also blatantly tactless. But that's Zach. To a world that constantly asks him to conform, he consistently says no. And this is an incredibly ironic stance to take, because it means that he's trying to get the world to recognize him by being unrecognizable, which is why he is able to so quickly point out the irony of a lower back tattoo, albeit the exact opposite irony. To a world that tells women to conform and to be desireless, they also say no. But they do this by reversing the equation and getting a tattoo that is going to attract men in a very general way. So in conclusion, Zach tries to demonstrate his specialness by being as non-general as possible, and he sees lower back tattoos as a way for women to demonstrate their specialness by being as general as possible. That's it for this episode of Frequently Zach's Questions. If you have a question, you can email us at fzqask@gmail.com. Bye-bye.